You would have thought that Howie Roseman would have learned his lesson from last year. What's happening at cornerback right now is it's the same thing that happened with the wide receivers last offseason. What did Howie Roseman do? He thought he could sign some cheap alternatives, find some lightning in a bottle, and it didn't work. Ruben Randall, Chris Givens. Both guys were cut, didn't even make the team. Fast forward to this season. What's going on now? You signed Patrick Robinson and you signed Dwayne Gratz. Gratz is already gone, and Patrick Robinson apparently has been a dumpster fire during training camp so far. So for a second straight season, Howie Roseman has completely butchered basically the worst position on the team. So while it looks good for the future because you got Sidney Jones, you got Rasul Douglas, I like all that, but going into this year, not looking good. And you signed all those players to all those one-year contracts, so you're playing for the future and you're also playing for this season, but you didn't fix the biggest weakness on your roster heading into the year. So now you're in a predicament. All right, so what are you going to do? Are you going to trade for somebody? They signed Corey Graham yesterday. Are you going to let it play out? Maybe somebody emerges. Now, here's what I will say. I feel good. Well, I feel better about the 5th and 6th cornerbacks than I did last year with the 5th and 6th wide receivers. Paul Turner was never going to do shit. Bryce Treggs was never going to do shit. But C.J. Smith and Aaron Grimes, I feel better about those guys. Those guys might actually be able to contribute. Maybe, if you guys watched the C.J. Smith video yesterday, maybe by the end of the year, maybe somebody emerges. Kind of like what happened last year with the Cowboys and Anthony Brown. I mean, the last 5 games of the year, he was one of the best cornerbacks in the league. Period. He was very, very good for them. So maybe the Eagles can catch lightning in a bottle with C.J. Smith or Aaron Grimes, and maybe they play a little bit up to the capability of, you know, what Anthony Brown did last season. So those are my thoughts on that. I've also been watching more and more of Kyle Fuller. I'll tell you what, I kind of don't want to trade for him. I think. Oh, what do you mean? Let's go easier on Howie. Come on. Let's not go easy on Howie. I don't agree with that. Anyway, what was I just talking about? So, oh yeah, Kyle Fuller. Apparently he's struggling in training camp. So I've been watching tape on him. He doesn't like to use his hands. He doesn't, kind of shies away from contact. I'll tell you what, if they do trade for somebody, forget about Kyle Fuller. Go after a guy like Ross Cockrell. I'd rather have Ross Cockrell than Kyle Fuller. Ross Cockrell's been good for the Steelers, sneaky good, and he was apparently on the trading block during the offseason. Maybe he's a guy you can go get. I've been also, kind of looking at some potential free agents for 2018, and the reason why I'm doing that is, well, maybe you can trade for somebody for the season. So some guys I just listed, not really big names, but maybe a Devon House from Green Bay. They have a bunch of cornerbacks on their roster. Maybe they would part with him. You got Marcus Burley from Cleveland. I mean, none of these are sexy household names, but, bring somebody in for a 7th-round pick. Get the competition up. Maybe you'll have a situation where a guy gets cut. Say, I don't know, maybe Jonathan Joseph gets cut. And you bring him in or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking. Because that's what happened with Antonio Freeman, if you remember, like 12 years ago, back in 2002. He was cut as a cost-saving measure, and he got brought in by the Eagles. And if hold on, let me see. I believe Jonathan Joseph has like a, yeah, he's owed $6.75 million. So I mean, not that Houston would part with him, but maybe that's something to look out for. So that's that. But here's what I'll say about the cornerback spot. The Eagles are not far away. I don't think they're far away. If they can shore up the cornerbacks, if they get surprise play from, say, Aaron Grimes or C.J. Smith, maybe they will be better than I think. So, it comes down to stopping the underneath stuff. I was at the open practice, and Mills and Robinson were getting burnt every time. Yeah, they were getting burnt a lot from what I heard. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, too, about some of these practices, right, because you're in, like, the one-on-one situations, and if guys are getting beat deep, you got to remember in a game, you will get safety help over the top. And a guy like, with Jenkins and McLeod, those guys are pretty good at that. Also on a deeper drop, you're going to get pressure from the defensive line. Again, going back to the C.J. Smith video, I want to stop the short stuff. That's if they can. Will Von Miller or Khalil Mack get to 30 sacks? I saw that quote from Miller the other day. That's pretty amazing. I'll tell you what, Miller just gets to the quarterback basically whenever he wants to. It's really incredible. It was 11 on 11? Oh, okay. Well, hey, listen. We'll see. All right. I feel I will say this. It's funny because, like, I've been worried about the cornerback spot, but I feel like now I'm almost on the other side of the ledger because everyone's panicking, but I'm looking at, all right, you got one guy in Ron Brooks because now in the NFL, you need 3 corners, all right? Nickel defense is like a base defense. Jenkins is going to play a lot of corner this year, especially listen, I don't like Malcolm Jenkins at corner. I don't like him in the slot. He struggles in the slot. Once Ron Brooks went down last year, that's when the season went downhill. No need to worry. You're not worried about the corners? Ha! Come on, man. Don't be silly. There is worry here. Man, I lost my train of thought again. All right, anyone else got any more questions? Our corners are pretty trash. Oh. Ron Brooks is a special teamer at best. Did you not watch him last year? He's pretty good, man. They sucked in the slot once Ron Brooks went down. Jenkins cannot cover the slot. He sucks against like those jitterbugs like Cole Beasley. He gets burnt in the slot. We are trash at cornerback. I'd rather have young players and rookies that have developed than old washed-up players. Yeah, by next year, the cornerback spot will be better, obviously. With Sidney Jones, you'll have Rasul Douglas. He's going to develop. Because he's not going to – I don't know if he's going to be ready for the season. Are you doing a meetup at the open practice? I might be chilling with the 4th and John guys on Sunday. Should Sidney play as soon as possible when healthy? If I would – see, I'm playing it really, really safe with Sidney Jones. I really don't want to risk anything with him. So I got a feeling, though, that they're going to push him back sooner than expected. I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. The thing about the season, man, is like those first 6 games are really tough, and you got to try to figure out this cornerback spot real quick. What would you give up to get Kyle Fuller? Listen, I kind of talked earlier in the show, and I've been watching Kyle Fuller tape from last year. Dude, he's really not that special. He doesn't like to use his hands. There's a Twitter video. I still think we're jumping the gun. Honestly, I don't put a lot of stock in the team practices. These players could have a completely different mindset in regular season games. Listen, if you've been watching my channel, I really could care less about training camp. But it's still you'd want to be more encouraged about what we're seeing. Oh no, who on the Eagles will cover Rico Gathers? Yeah, he caught a touchdown yesterday. Our corners were trash last season, but we had the 13th best pass defense. Well, when you have the defensive line pressuring the quarterback, that helps out. But you got to stop the quick passing game. Got to stop. Now, I know that they were 13th against the pass, but it was like that number. They were like top 5 for like the first half of the season, and then really when the quick passing game, once the teams figured it out, they really went downhill in terms of the passing numbers. How do you feel about Alshon already getting hurt? He's gonna be fine. It's okay. Everyone's freaking out. It's okay. It's precautionary. Give the ball to Blunt. Defense won't see the field. Problem solved. If he can get you 5 yards to carry. So it probably appears worse than it really is. That's a positive way to look at it. But it's going to appear worse than it really is if I keep mentioning C.J. Smith and Aaron Grimes, but I really think those two guys are important. I really think so. If one of those two emerges, because I don't think Jalen Mills is going to be terrible. So who do you think going to be the starting cornerback if we don't get Kyle Fuller? Well, you'll have there's going to be a bunch of guys that they're going to try and mix and match, because you'll have Corey Graham, you'll have well, not that Patrick Robinson's going to play, but you'll have C.J. Smith, Aaron Grimes, Jalen Mills. You got a bunch of guys that you're going to mix and match, and hopefully by the end of the year, you find two guys that can start on the outside. So, is Rasul Douglas progressing? Yeah, I haven't heard good things from him, but like I want to see some preseason games. Because I'm with you about the practices. I want to see some games. I always see Eagle streams in my home. Oh, sorry. Teron Davenport says C.J. Smith is probably going to start. That's a good thing, because I've been fucking saying that for a while. Sidney Jones will be in the lineup if we have a playoff chance. Maybe. We'll see. Jalen Mills is definitely going to be a starter, I think. If Jalen Mills can progress and you have Ron Brooks, because I think Ron Brooks is perfectly fine in the slot. I have no problem with Ron Brooks. I missed that on Aguilar. All right, that's it for the cornerback talk. I got to get going. I got to get out of here. Anyone else got any questions? I don't want Sidney to play, especially if we make the playoffs. Yeah, I really don't want him to play either. I'm not on the Sidney Jones playing bandwagon. This is all about the future, guys. Now I know like this season is important too, but the future is really what's more important. 76ers have me more hyped. Haha. See ya, alleyway. Yeah, I'm getting out now.